Babes, and welcome to my book nook. For those who don't know me, the name's Randy Barton. I'm an elementary music teacher by day, a booktuber by night. I love talking about all sorts of books from thriller, horror, fantasy, romance, all the things. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned and subscribe. All right. Anyway, sorry, I was trying to get in focus. We are on the one with the TBR, where I share my friend's theme-inspired TBR that I choose through a game, and we're on May. This is the 5th round. I started it in January. I will link to the first video along with the other playlist down below in case you want to see the rules. I'm not really going to explain them too much. Basically, I roll dice. It goes to a category. Fears and pet peeves is thriller and horror. Ancient history is romance, and it's romance. Literature is historical fiction and literary fiction, and it's all relative to sci-fi fantasy. I pick a category, I roll a number, I pick a color prompt, and it gives me a book to read. And that's super fun. And then, yeah, I do 5 rolls every month. I'm going to have to do 6 again this time. I've always had to do 6 because I didn't finish my TBR. We'll talk about that in a hot second. April was a dumpster fire. Can we expect anything less, friends? But yeah, so without any more ado, let's talk about how April went. And then we'll get started with the game. Okay, let's talk about April. There were 6 books on my TBR, and I read 2.5. Yeah, that's where we're at. So, I had 9 Lives on my list by Peter Swanson, and I did read this. I'm not going to give you my thoughts because this is coming out before my April wrap-up. I will just say I did enjoy it, though, but I had to read this. Read it. Also had Verity by Colleen Hoover on my list, and I read this and loved this so much. Like, this is like one of my favorite books of the year so far. Like, I loved it that much. So yeah, I also read Verity. I read half of The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and I have not finished, and I'm going to take it with me. I'm going to take it with me if this will stay straight, which it won't. It'll be crooked, whatever. I'm going to take it with me into May. I'm enjoying it, but it's a very slow read. I'm not loving it as much as I hoped. I was budding reading it with a friend, and my friend finished it and gave it a 2 stars, so I don't know if that bodes well for me. I also had Know My Name by Chanel Miller on there. That was a repeat bragged over from March, and I still haven't read it yet. Honestly, it's because the audiobook has not been available. The audiobook says that there's 2 weeks left, so hopefully I will read it soon. Maybe I'll tack it over to May. I really do want to get to that. There's a couple of nonfiction I've picked up recently that I really do want to get to, so we'll see. And then I was also supposed to read Jade Legacy, the 3rd installment in the Greenbone Saga series. I was supposed to read that in March and then in April, and now we're bringing that one to May, and I am going to finish that. But that's like a 700 or 800 page book. Like, you know, that's a big commitment, fam. A big commitment. So, you know. And then finally, I was supposed to read Pet Sematary by Stephen King, and I just did not get to that. I really do still want to read that. It's not that I won't. I just didn't get to it. Honestly, the reason I didn't get to most of these is because I was in a big reading mood for April. I'm pretty sure I had other books that were on my March wrap-up, or on my April wrap-up as well, that I was supposed to read, that I just didn't read. Like, a lot of these books up here are books I was supposed to read, and I just felt like mood reading. So I read stuff like Heartstopper. I listened to Allie Hazelwood novellas. I read several books that just were not on my list at all. I was just in the mood to read them. And I honestly enjoyed it. And I might phase out this TBR, or I don't know. I don't want to phase out this game because I love this game. But mood reading is like a vibe. So maybe I will drop this after a couple more months, like to like 3 rolls a month, so that I can actually mood read more, because 5 is a lot, especially if it's 6, because I have to add 1 every time, you know, that I mess up. So yeah, I will say from February to May, I'm just trying to make it through at school, fam. The school year is really rough on teachers at the end of the year, so be blessed, or give us grace. Okay, let's just get started with the game, see what I'm gonna roll today. Okay, so 43 is under It's All Relative, which is sci-fi fantasy. So I'm reading a fantasy book, and it has to be a blue prompt. So let me find my blue prompts, give them a quick little shuffle, and we'll see what we're reading today. Yeah. All right. Read a book based on a true story. That cannot even be a thing with fantasy, I don't think. In fact, yeah, no. I know that's not a thing, because it's literally fantasy, so we're going to pick another. Read a movie book adaptation. Okay. So are any of these fantasy books made into a movie? Let's see. So I didn't actually have any fantasy that were movie to book adaptations, but I did have a TV show one, and I actually just got it today. And it's the first Shadow and Bone series or book by Leigh Bardugo, which I've been wanting to read that for a while, so I think I'll actually read that. And I don't know what it's about. I've never seen the TV show. I don't have the book with me, so I can't explain to you what it's about, but I'm sure you've heard of Shadow and Bone by now. So that's what I will put on this stack. I'm going to read the first one in the Leigh Bardugo Grishaverse series. I've never read a book by Leigh Bardugo, so we'll see how it goes. All right, on to roll 2. So I got 49, which is Ancient History, which is a romance, and it is a yellow prompt. So I'm going to find all my yellow prompts, or most of them. Give it a good shuffle. Let's see what we've got. Read a book with a person of color protagonist. Ooh. Okay. Be right back. I got the perfect book for it. It was on my 5-star prediction list for this year, and so I needed to read it at some point anyway, and it's perfect. And it is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. So I'm super excited. This is about Catalina, I believe so. She is Hispanic. She's from Spain. I am also Hispanic. I am La Cubanita, or Cubanita. You probably never know that because I don't speak a lick of Spanish because my dad decided not to teach any of his kids. But you know, we live and we thrive. I'm gonna learn one day. My brother actually has been doing Duolingo every day for 2 years, and he actually can like understand a lot of Spanish and can write or read in Spanish. So he's actually learning. Yeah, it's about our main character, Catalina. If you haven't heard what it's about by now, she desperately needs a date to her sister's wedding, especially since her little white lie about her American boyfriend has spiraled out of control. Now everyone she knows, including her ex and his fiance, will be there and eager to meet him. She has only 4 weeks to find someone willing to cross the Atlantic and aid in her deception. New York to Spain is not a short flight, and her family won't be easy to fool. Enter Aaron Blackford, her tall, handsome, condescending colleague who surprisingly offers to step in. She'd rather refuse, but she's desperate, and as the wedding draws near, he looks like her best option, and she begins to realize he might not be as terrible in the real world as he is at the office. I've heard very mixed things about this. I've heard that this is a beautiful story, and I've heard that this is garbage, and that to be fair, she self-published this, and now she has an editor and an agent, and everyone is like saying, oh, well, that's probably why, like, a lot of this was not as good as it could have been. I don't know, but there are some people that also, like, stand by this and say that this is the best book since sliced bread. So, we're gonna give it a go. It's time to finally read Spanish Love Deception. So 27 is another ancient history romance. So I guess we are just reading romance in May. And it is a pink. So let me grab all my pinks. Oh, I have one more. And let's shuffle. Yeah. There's actually a lot of romances that I need to get to. So this is good. Okay, here we go. OMG. The world is just blessing me. Free choice, baby. All right. Let me go see which romance I want to read. Okay, I had a lot of books to choose from for this, and I picked one that I know the audiobook is about to release to me finally. I've been waiting for it since it came out in February, and I know that it's about to happen. So I'll read this. And that is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is the sequel to It Happened One Summer, which was one of my favorite romances of last year. Honestly, one of my favorite romances of all time. I just absolutely loved the couple in this one. And so if you knew that one, it was basically about the Alexis-inspired character, Piper Bellinger, the Alexis-inspired character from Schitt's Creek. And the first one was about her and the fisherman guy that she falls in love with. This one is about her sister, who has a platonic friendship with Brendan. I believe that's the guy in the first story. I can't remember right now. A platonic relationship with his best friend Fox, and he has a reputation as like a sexy, carefree flirt. Everyone knows he's a guaranteed good time in bed and out, and that's how he prefers it, until he meets Hannah, her sister, and she's immune to his charming good looks, but she seems to enjoy his personality, and so they're platonic pals. Now she's in town for work, crashing in his spare bedroom. She knows he's a ladies' man, but they're just friends. She's nursing a hopeless crush on someone else, and he's just the person to help with her lackluster love life. And then, of course, they probably end up like falling in love, or he ends up being like, oh, I actually have feelings for this girl and stuff. Some people have said that they really enjoyed this a lot more than the first, and some said that this was like nothing compared to the first. But I really enjoyed the first, so I'm just excited to read this regardless. But yeah, I think this is going to be adorable, so I'm excited to add it to the list. On to roll 4. That was the 2, so I'm going to keep that. 20 was a thriller and horror fears and pet peeves, so that's exciting. And it was an orange, so I'm getting all of my colors. Woohoo! All right. All right, let's really shuffle, make sure they all face the same way. Yeah, yeah. I'm in a very sing-songy mood right now. Okay, here we go. Read a book with a person on the cover. Cool. Cool, cool. Let's see what we're going to read. All right, I have another 5-star prediction on this list, one that I've been wanting to read for a hot second. I actually read the first chapter of it in my Try a Chapter With Me thriller and horror, and I really loved it. I ranked it fairly high, so I think this is a good one to pick. And that is They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. I have been wanting to read this bad boy for a hot minute. I'm so glad it made its way to the TBR finally. So this one, if you don't know about this is about by now, as Scarlett Clark is an exceptional English professor, but she's even better at getting away with murder. Every year she searches for the worst man at Gorman University and plots his demise. Thanks to her planning, she's avoided drawing attention to herself, but as she's preparing for her biggest kill yet, the school starts probing into the body count on campus. Determined to keep her enemies close, she insinuates herself into the investigation. Everything's going according to her master plan until she loses control with her latest victim. Meanwhile, Gorman student Carly Schiller is trying to survive her freshman year. She wants to fade into the background. Her roommate, Allison, is cool and confident, and they quickly form an intense friendship. So when Allison's assaulted at a party, Carly becomes obsessed with making the attacker pay and turning her fantasies about revenge into a reality. I think this is a sapphic relationship story. I believe maybe they are dating. I don't know. But I've heard this is very much like bad bitch energy. And I am here for it. And very much like, you go girl. Like, you know, you got him. So, I'm so excited. I just know I'm going to read this in like a day. It has that kind of like vibe, you know? So 40 is another fears and pet peeves one, which means thriller and horror, and it's another orange. So let's go for this. Woo! All right, let's see. Read a book with pictures in it. I don't know if I have any more. So let me check that, and then I might pick a different prompt. So I didn't have any thriller or horror that had pictures in it. I thought I did, but I did not. So I'm going to pick a different prompt. Read the shortest book on your TBR. Okay, let's find the shortest thriller and horror book I can find. Okay, I picked the second shortest thriller and horror book I own because the first one was an Agatha Christie book, and I'm not in the mood to start Agatha Christie just yet. And I'm a little upset because the book that I chose, I literally just got today. And I left it on the couch, and apparently I left the remnants of my root beer float on the couch, and my dog ate my root beer float, which means that they also knocked it over onto my book. So my book is all sticky, and now the pages look like this. So that's annoying. I guess I'm going to be keeping this book for the rest of my life. That's fine. Anyway, it's Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung, which I'm actually reading this for Katie Colson's Smut Salon, one of her book club picks for this month. It is a collection of short stories by Korean author Bora Chung. Blurring the lines between magical realism, horror, and science fiction, she uses elements of the fantastic and surreal to address the very real horrors and cruelties of patriarchy and capitalism in modern society. Anton Her's translation skillfully captures the way Chung's prose effortlessly glides from being terrifyingly to wryly humorous. I've heard this is pretty good, that most of the short stories are like super awesome. There's 10 short stories in here. I'm not normally a short stories person, but I'm willing to give it a try, and so it's like a thriller slash horror slash fantasy-esque short story collection. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm really still mad that my book is all sticky and has ice cream root beer marks on it, but oh well. On to the final roll. Okay, I'm changing up the rules in May. Why not? Because I lost the journal that was keeping track of how many times I've hit orange and blue and numbers and all that. And honestly, I don't want to keep track of that crap. And I kept having to add rules. And you know what? The whole point of this is to make it Friends themed and have a lightning round in it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm no longer going to punish myself if I end up not reading my entire TBR. Because normally I have 5 rules and I have to add a 6. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I am going to just do the 5 rules, and then for fun, I'm going to do a lightning round anyway, because those are always fun. So that's where I read the 5 friends questions. I time myself. I see, you know, if I can get them, I get at least 3 out of 5 correct in 30 seconds or less. And then if I do, I don't have to do any of these prompts. If I do, then I'm going to have to do one of these prompts, which is like phone a friend, nightmare prompt, extra spin, all of that. And so I already filmed my extra spin. And so if I get the extra spin one, I'm just going to show you the 6th book that I have to read. Otherwise, you'll see me with a different clip of whatever I ended up picking. But I think that'll be more fun this way. So I'll always do 5 rolls, and then I'll have a 6th lightning round just for fun. So I may or may not have to do a 6th book. You know? I think that'll be more fun in the end. So let me go get my friend's trivia and my 30-second timer, and let's see if I can do this thing. All right, I've got my timer, my trivia, ready, and action. Who did Trigger take to the superintendent's ball? Oh, I don't know. I just know that he danced with Joey. What did Phoebe call her cross-country trip with Joey? I can already know I'm going to lose this. What type of jeans were Joey's stylish carpenter pants? They were high-waisted. I know that. When asked by Rachel's sorority sister, which sorority did Phoebe say she once belonged to? Delta Nu? No, Lambda Phi? What was the name of Joey's Italian grandmother? Yeah, I've lost. The timer's not even up, but yeah, I've lost. Okay, let's see how bad I did. Marge, a Renaissance, Sergio Valente, Thigh Mega Tampon, and Nani. Yeah, I didn't get any of these right. There's some days where I get like all of the Friends trivia right, and there's some days where I don't. I will say, it's been a minute since I've rewatched Friends, and I watch Friends like all the time, and I haven't in a minute, so I'm going to do that so that the next time we do one of these, I don't lose. So now let's roll our special lightning round die and see what color we get and go from there. So I got yellow, which is blind bookshelf roll. And so basically, I'm going to put as many books are on my TBR, which I believe I have like 300 something on a list. And I'm going to put the number in, and then I'm just going to press like randomize on my computer, and then whatever number it gives, I'm gonna just start counting down my shelf in order from the top and see what book that is. So the number was 38. Thank God I don't have to count like 100 and something books. So I'm just going to count for the 38th book, which I know is going to be in the romance section because that's where my romance books are. And we're going to go from there. So I'll be right back. So 38 is like so I guess this month is my romance month. My 38th book on my bookshelf was The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane, which I've actually been wanting to read this, so that's totally okay with me that this was it. It looks really cute, and it's actually not that long. So this is about Dev Deshpande has always believed in fairy tales, so it's no wonder that he spent his career crafting them on the long-running reality dating show Ever After. As the most successful producer in the franchise's history, Dev always scripts the perfect love story for his contestants, even as his own love life crashes and burns, but then the show casts disgraced tech wonderkind Charlie Winshaw as its star. Charlie is far from the romantic Prince Charming Ever After expects. He doesn't believe in true love and agreed to appear on the show only as a last-ditch effort to rehabilitate his image. In front of the cameras, he's a stiff, anxious mess with no idea how to date 20 women on national television. As Dev fights to get Charlie to connect with the contestants on a whirlwind worldwide tour, they begin to open up to each other, and Charlie realizes he has better chemistry with Dev than with his co-stars. But even reality TV has a script, and in order to find their way to happily ever after, they'll have to reconsider whose love story gets told and why. So this is like a Bachelor spinoff, but with 2 guys instead. I've heard this is so cute. I'm very excited. I think this will be very, very, very cute. I'm very excited to read this. So yeah, romance month. It's a thing. It's a vibe. All right, so here's my stack other than Shadow and Bone, which is in my car right now. It's actually not that big, not too crazy. And so once again, we have Cursed Bunny, my short stories collection, The Charm Offensive, They Never Learn, Hook, Line, and Sinker, Spanish Love Deception, and Shadow and Bone. So I'm reading 3 romances, 2 3 romances and 2... I'm reading 3 romances, 2 horror and thriller, and 1 sci-fi fantasy. So that's super exciting. That's a pretty easy stack to follow it. So now let's talk about a couple of books that I am reading outside of that for this month. So let's just get all of the book club ones out of the way because I always have a couple that I'm reading for book club. So I already said that I am reading Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung for Katie Colson's Smut Club Salon. The other book that I'm reading for that I technically was supposed to have read this month with my local book club that I didn't end up reading or finishing because I'm just not loving it. So maybe I'll finish it for this month. It's another Katie Colson book. She picked 2 for this month. Is Notes on an Execution by Daria. I can't remember her last name. It's about a guy named Ansel who is about to be executed for murdering 3 women. And it's like his story of like his life as told through 3 women, like his mom, his wife's sister, and one other person, I believe the police detective. And it's not that it's like boring. I don't know. I'm just not really vibing with it, but I do want to finish it and it's on the book club list, so I might as well. So I'm reading that. And then for Kayla, Books and Lala's club, we are reading Confessions by Kanae Minato. That is another translated work. So this one is about, after calling off her engagement in the wake of a tragic revelation, Yuko Moriguchi had nothing to live for except her only child, 4-year-old Manami. Now, following an accident on the grounds of the middle school where she teaches, Yuko has given up and tendered her resignation. But first, she has one last lecture to deliver. She tells a story that upends everything her students ever thought they knew about 2 of their peers and sets in motion a maniacal plot for revenge. I'm very excited for this. So it's like a confrontation lecture style between teacher and students. I've heard this is fan-freaking-tastic. And it's not very long. It's about 220 pages. So I'll probably fly through this in like a day or 2. But yeah, I'm reading that for Books and Lala's book club. And we have my girl Gabby's book troop club selection. And she picked a scary one for May. And we are reading The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. I've never read a Darcy Coates novel before. But I'm very excited about it. So this one says, everyone knows about Ashburn House. They whisper its old owner went mad and restless ghosts still walk the halls. But when Adrienne, desperate and in need of a place to stay, inherits the crumbling old mansion, she only sees it as a lifeline until darkness falls. Strange messages are etched into the walls, furniture moves when she leaves the room, and a grave hidden in the depths of the forest hints at a terrible, unforgivable secret. Something twisted lives in her house, its hungry eyes ever watchful. Chasing the threads of a decades-old mystery, it isn't long before she realizes she's become prey to something deeply unnatural and intensely resentful. She has no idea how to escape. She has no idea how to survive. Only one thing is certain. Ashburn's dead are not at rest. So yeah. Very excited about this. I don't really read that many horror as many as I do thriller, and this one's more on the horror side. And like I said, Darcy Coates is like a known best-selling author, and I've never gotten to read anything by her yet, so might as well read her newest one. I think it'll be super fun. And there's a couple others that I'm going to be reading for like secret TBRs and videos and stuff and vlogs, so I'm not going to share those. But also, I don't want to like actually put them on my list so that I can feel a little more free in like some of the books that I choose for this month. So I'm only going to put one more book on my TBR for this video, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I want to start reading this. I want to read this first, and then I'll work my way over to reading ACOTAR, and then I'll finish Crescent City. I'm just in the mood to like start this series this month. And I'm going to read them in the romantic order. So the romantic order, apparently, like, the way you read it is supposed to, like, impact, like, you more emotionally. And so that means I'll be reading The Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel novellas that come before this. I'll be reading it after the 3rd book. And then I'll be reading Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms, co-reading it. So you read like 2 chapters from this book, and then 1 chapter from this, and then 1 chapter from this, and 2 chapters from that, apparently because they like go hand in hand together. So that'll be interesting. But I'm going to start with Throne of Glass, which if you don't know what that's about, it says, in a world without magic, an assassin is summoned to the castle. She comes not to kill the vicious king who rules from his throne of glass, but to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 killers, thieves, and warriors in a competition, she will be released from prison to serve as the king's champion. Her name is Selena Sardothium. The crown prince will provoke her, the captain of the guard will protect her, and a princess from a faraway land will befriend her. But something evil dwells in the castle and is there to kill. When her competitors start dying one by one, Selena's fight for freedom becomes a fight for survival and a desperate quest to root out the evil before it destroys her world. I've heard that this is like not the best writing compared to like her newer novels, because obviously she wrote these first, but then I've also heard that like this is just such a beloved series. Plus I want to read this because I want to be able to watch Booked and Busy's reading vlog that she did like a month ago on it, and she said there were spoilers galore all up in it. And then Chandler has a couple book videos on this, and I can't watch any of them because I haven't read these yet. So let's read it so I can be in on the action. You dig me? It's not even that long. It's only 400, but of course they get bigger the further they go. And there's my beautiful Sarah J. Maas shelf. But anyway, yeah, we're going to add this to the stack. all of the stuff that I added and the 1 or 2 books that I don't physically have with me at this exact moment, this is our stack. And it is nothing too big and too crazy. I think I could actually do this for once in my life. My other stacks are always like huge and I can never accomplish anything. So I hope that you enjoyed this month's version of the one with the TBR. I'm sorry I keep changing the rules up. I just feel like it. You know, sometimes you just feel like it and you just go with it. But I hope you had a good time and I will hopefully see you in the next video.